to our Executive Vice President for Europe Marketing. And can I now say, Asia, it's Mr. Aidan OHare.
Bob's a great bloke, isn't he? So is there a lot of new people here today? I want to apologize up front. Because you're going to see, though, you'll be walking out of here later thinking they promoted that bloke. It's as surprising as me as it is to you. We're in this together, I promise you. But what a great opportunity to be here. I still call it the NEC, is that wrong? Yeah. It's called the Genting Arena. It's always going to be the NEC to me. Is that all right with you? Because I'm actually English. I know I don't sound like I am, so I was born in Liverpool, if you can believe that. Yeah, I know. I can see your sovereigns from here, mate. I can. All right, yeah. And my mum is Scouse. She's dead Scouse. And I was at the house the other morning and she shouts up, "You coming down for the breakfast, lad?" And I thought, oh my gosh. Is this right? 2 hours, 88 minutes? Well, I've got some things I want to share with you. To give you a little bit about my experience in Forever, it actually started just across the road in the Motorcycle Museum. That was my first ever success day. I think about 20 years ago, and we've been doing this for 20 years. And that's part of what I'm going to try and talk to you about today, is a little bit about what we call the USPs, or the unique selling points of Forever Living. And I know that Bob just did a phenomenal job of covering some of that, but I wondered if today I could add a little bit of a different angle about our company. Would that be okay? And maybe even the bumblebee. I wasn't... That was definitely not on my agenda. I thought that I'd grown out of the bumblebee, but everywhere I go, they chase me because they love me to embarrass myself. And so if you remind me later on, I'll see if I can remember, because I'm terrible. I always forget what I'm supposed to say. I'm not very disciplined, so. But what I'd like to do, first of all, is bring up the first slide. And that's the second slide, actually. Is there another one before that? Oh, there it is. Forever proud, and we always seem to put a hashtag in front of everything now. I don't know why. It's supposed to make us feel modern or something, but I don't know. Whatever happened to just straight grammar? Proud now has to sit with forever, and there has to be a hashtag. What happened to Forever Gap Proud? But I want you to know deep within us how proud we are of Forever Living products, and how proud we are of you and your involvement. We recognize that our industry is not a mainstream industry, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a great industry and an honest industry and a powerful way of you make a good income, and more importantly, to help one another. Our business is built on the consumption of products by people just like you, products that help you look better and feel better. You know that we make, or we're not supposed to make, any medical claims about our product. We're not supposed to make financial claims about our incomes. We're okay with that. As a company, for the past 40 years, we don't feel that we need to do that. Now, occasionally, individuals come into our business and they say, "Oh, I want to make claims that are over and above what is true." As a company, that's no good. We're not interested in that. We're interested in you trying the product. If you don't like it, bring it back. We'll give you money back. Simple. And that's part of the fundamental process of being Forever Proud. We're so proud of our product and our marketing plan that we'll give it to you, try it out. If you don't like it, give it back. We'll give you your money back and move on. That's the importance, or the part of Forever that we're really proud about. And I'm going to break that down, if I can, follow on very much of what Bob said, into 5 main areas. Now you can give me that second slide. In fact, I'm supposed to be clicking that. Rob, if you can work with me, that'd be great. This building right here is our home office in Scottsdale, Arizona. And can you imagine, I'm a lad from Birmingham who lived in Solihull, and I get a telephone call, and I'm driving from I'm driving to church actually 21 years ago down in Hatton to visit some people. The phone rings. And they say to me, you know, Aidan, this is, it was Navaz, one of Rex's assistants, the owners of the company, saying we've got a job for you and we'd like you to move to Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was like, oh, get the map. You know, where's Arizona? Isn't that cowboys, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And so, and this is the office that we wholly own. There's no debt associated with that. As a company, there's no debt in our, and Bob told you that, but as somebody who sees the financial side of the business, I want to confirm that this is wholly owned. And this is where Forever is run globally. So I arrived over there, and you can imagine, in Arizona, think of hot, times it by 2, and add a little bit, and that's how flipping hot it is there. It is always hot. My kids, I got 5 lovely kids, and it's like, you know, 24 degrees, and like, oh, I'm freezing, you know. And so I got there and I was wearing a thick wool suit. And I remember going to my first interview with Forever, and I had this thick suit on and I had sweat pouring down my back. But you know, I was really British. And I was stiff upper lip. No matter what happens, if I melt, I'm going to do it with a smile on my face, you know. And I walked into the office and Navaz was there, and she walked over and she gave me a massive hug. You know what I mean? I went, So 2 things happened. I was mortally embarrassed about the fact that I was soaking wet. And the second thing is that I got a real quick insight into Forever Living products. So the first interview I had, she gave me a hug. Now I know there's somebody out there that's very corporate. There always is. And you probably sat male or female, something like this. Yeah, well, they wouldn't do that in ICI, would they? You're absolutely right. You wouldn't do that in ICI, but we will do it here. And that's part, yeah, exactly. And for 40 years, who was Prime Minister 40 years ago? Margaret Thatcher? Who's no idea? Who's that? Margaret Thatcher maybe, I don't know. But can you imagine way back then, 1978 is when we started doing this, or Rex and the guys started doing this. Why do I want to reinforce that is the fact that we're not practicing anymore. There's different motivational factors to start a business depending on how old the business is. The first one is to stay alive, right? When you first couple years, let's just survive. Let's get our cash flow going. And then you get a little bit of momentum. And then the guys that put all their effort, their lives on at risk, their homes, their family, all of that things, they want a little bit of a payback. I don't know when that is, maybe 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that time. So companies that may come and approach you and you look at where they are in their growth, because I can promise you, Forever Living Products isn't doing this for money anymore. Rex has got probably enough money. Do you know what I'm saying? You get my point, right? Is that when you get these new startup companies, they've got boom, 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 we've got to get some money, and in order to do that, you're going to make some promises, make some offers that are short term. At Forever, 40 flipping years. So think about apples and oranges sometimes when you make a comparison. It's very difficult for us to be an apple when we're an orange. So the next one, and let's go on to this next one. Now, I chose this photograph on purpose. It's 2 of the men that I love probably the most in the world. Is that 20 years ago, Rex took a chance on me, a fool from Liverpool, and said, hey, you know what? This guy cares about people. Let's give him a chance. And it's been the greatest 20 years of my life. Yeah, I can't. And in the part of that process is we're all mortal. We all get older, and Rex is getting older. So he put a succession plan in, not that what would benefit him, but what will benefit you. So when Greg, as you see in the picture there, was probably 14, 16 probably when he first started work, he didn't go straight into the executive boardroom, which probably he had the right to, right? He's the heir to that opportunity. He went straight into data processing, order processing, and customer service. And for the past, 30 years, he's worked in every department all over the world to get to know the function, the structure, and the operations of the business, but more importantly, the people. And so the succession plan is in place that is just smoothly stepped into, and you'll meet Greg a little bit later on. But I wanted to make that point is that this has been planned for 30 years now. So, and maybe in our lifetimes we'll see a change. I don't know, I can't see the future. But typically, we can be expected to see something like that. But it's in place. So Greg has the experience to be able to run our company going on for into the future, and the same will happen again and again, because forever is indeed forever. That's our mindset. We're no longer worried about making a bit of cash up front. We're thinking about what can we do to build this legacy. And you'll see some of that in our decision-making processes, is that we might not give immediate benefit, but it goes on to build strength, depth, and consistency, which is vitally important. Next slide. So this all started in 1978, and it started by, this is Rex. For those of you who don't know, this is Rex Moore, and he's the founder of Forever Living Products. I could tell you 1,000 things about him, but I want to give you a vision of who he is, because I believe an organization takes on the personality of its leader. Over time, that's just what happens. If you would describe an organization that has poor leadership, then you use different adjectives. If an organization has great leadership, it has more positive adjectives. Now, I'll give you an example about who Rex is to me personally. Every now and again, we have the opportunity to spend some time personally with our families. And this one, we'd gone away for a weekend and spent some time at a ranch and just, having a good time. It was Greg and I and Rex and our young children. We were traveling home, and I want you to think about this in the context of what Rex has got going on in his mind. He runs this and owns a global organization with over 10 million people that interact with our company on a fairly regular basis in 150 plus countries. That's all of the complexity and the pressure that's associated with that. And this is going on in his mind, and he's a very easy to be with person. And we stop off on the way home to get some dinner on the way back. It's the type of restaurant that you pay on the way in. I don't think they trust you to pay the bill, so they charge you on the way in. So all of us paid, and Rex, graciously offered to buy us dinner. And then one of my kids, I have a young, he was 14 at the time, lad, he decided to nip off to the loo on the way in and didn't get his dinner paid for. He comes back to me and says, they won't give me dinner without a receipt. I said, here's $20, go get your receipt. Now, a lot of you are thinking, why the hell is he telling me the story? Well, this is what happened next, is Jonah eats, we all get in the car, we drive home, nothing said about it. Monday morning in work, Rex comes into my office with a receipt in his hand. And he says, wasn't there 8 of us at dinner last night? I've only paid for 7 people. And I told him the story about Jonah. I said, well, Jonah went to the loo, missed out on it. And he said, no. And he gave me $20. So why do I tell you that story? There's 2 things about leadership that exist in that story. Attention to detail. He thought he paid for 8, but only paid for 7. How many of you would have checked that? Then, having seen an error, would have stopped the running of a global empire to go make sure that little old me, that is fully, I work for him, so I'm submissive to him, I'm subservient to him. He had no business coming to my office and putting that right. So in that small story, you'll get an insight of the type of mind that put this company together. I still have on my desk now the $20 from 2008. Because it reminds me, look after the details and look after the people. That's the type of person that runs forever. Next slide. Now, why am I spending so much time on people? Well, it's because the next guys that are going to speak are going to talk about the product, the processes, and all of the good things that are coming on. Also, I think that people cannot be duplicated. Sometimes products can be. People can never be duplicated. When they made you, they broke the mold, whether you like it or not. So you better be the best you can be. So now I have a very interesting insight. a few weeks ago, we were in Greece. You've heard that mentioned for the Eagle Manager Retreat. One of the things that we did as a favor to John and Jane is they said, can we film you guys talking off the record? And so what I'm going to show you now is an insight into Greg off the record. I haven't even told him that I'm showing you this. And so this might be the shortest vice president of Asia you've ever met. So I'm going to show you this piece of us talking. And even though I'm actually in it, but I'm sitting right behind Greg, you can't see me. It's like a big gap there. But you'll see. And I want you to see, and especially if you're new, this is off the record. So this gives you, this isn't fake to the camera. This is absolutely genuine, is Greg talking to Jane about his opinion for the future and how he solves problems.
When we talk about building a business based on the correct principles of integrity and honesty and trying to do the right thing and build something that will last forever, that's what who Rex is. That is the pillar that he is and what he's brought to this business, and he's instilled that in each of us. And that's what's really important to us, is we do the right thing. We don't build this just to make money today and be gone tomorrow. And unfortunately, there's a lot of those out there. But we're interested in building people and building character and helping people change their lives. We've seen it so many times that, that's what's gratifying to us. And so when you hear about all these investments and, reinvesting the money back into the business and into the future, it's because we care about people. We understand, we feel the responsibility of this is livelihood of people all over the world. Yeah. And we want to do it right, and we want to make it right for each one of them. So that's extremely important to all of us.
Jane, I think I probably speak for the other three. We weren't raised by Rex, obviously, but I'm the youngest in forever of this group, and I've been around almost 20 years. But as Greg mentioned, we've all been influenced significantly by him and helped mold us into who we are today, just watching him and his example. And I know, again, I speak for all of us, when we travel around and we have decisions to make, and we know those decisions oftentimes influence and impact our FBOs, their lives and livelihood. I know for myself and all of us, we always think of Rex. What would he do in this situation? It's not what would Gary do, what's my best knowledge, is what would Rex do in this situation? And that guides our decision-making process.
So there you see it. And I don't know if you picked up on it, is that Greg said it when he says, we feel the responsibility of you. And that's a key part of the leadership of our company. I can promise you there isn't a moment when your successes and your failures are not on our minds. And that anyone that's interacted with us for long enough will recognize that to be the absolute truth, is that we feel the responsibility of your success. It's an absolutely part of what we do. Now, not only do we as corporate leaders feel that, and if you could give me the next slide, but also as FBO leaders. We have a thing called the Global Leadership Team, which is a team of FBOs that have reached a certain level in our marketing plan. And those that don't know yet, we measure our volume in a unit called case credits. A case credit is just a point for the amount of product that you purchase. The reason we use case credits is because we do business globally. And as you know, the complexity of currencies, we have to move ourselves out of the currency, and so we use case credits that are pretty much equal measurement of the movement of product throughout the world. When you get to 7,500 case credits per year, you join our global leadership team. And I know that Bob recognized you guys. Will you stand up for me for real quick? And you can get a look at these guys real quick. And the reason I want to identify these guys, thank you, give them a round of applause. Now, thank you. Now, what's unique about these individuals in Forever Living and why I wanted to highlight them is their pay is amazing being on the GLT. You get bugger all. Nothing. The company pays them nothing to be on the global leadership team. Now, the skeptics in the room saying, yeah, but they got a big bonus. Well, of course they do. They've worked hard to get that. But when we invite them onto the GLT, we promise them nothing. They travel the world to help you build your businesses. They sit in meetings for days on end trying to work out policies and procedures and things that make the company better. And then we decided years ago that they were going to do that volunteer, because then if they do it volunteer, they come into the room for the right reasons. And the right reason is not personal gain. The right reason is, what can we do together to increase this wonderful opportunity that is forever? We may not be the biggest in the world, and we may never be the biggest, but we will be the best. And that's our goal. Now, as part of being the best, we felt, or Rex felt, and Greg felt many years ago, that we can never be fully in control unless we own the entire process. So as you look at our business, whether you've been here for the first time today or you've been here for 30 years, I want you to think about the real investment that we've made, and in fact that we knew that we needed to control the entire process from plant to product to you. The only way that you truly control something is if you own it. So we are completely vertically integrated in, just go on to the next slide, please. Completely vertically integrated in most of our product. Not all of it. It will be very upfront and say cosmetics. We don't know how to make that yet. We're still trying to, learn how to do that. But a lot of our dietary supplement products, all of our aloe product is vertically integrated. Why? Because we care enough about being the best that we bought the whole process. Not overnight, over a period of 40 years. So that means we can guarantee price, quality, and quantity. So there's a security that's built into the business. We don't go and buy someone else's third-party product, take their label off it, put our label on it, and sell it with a smile. That's not our role. Our role is to go back to the field and say, how do we make the soil the best it can be to produce the most nutritional product, thank you, raw material, that we can put in the most effective way, both cost and efficacy, into a bottle and sell it to you to share with people. How many companies really, in today's world of outsourcing and third-party relationships, do that? Now let me tell you, it doesn't make a lot of sense financially. It is much more advantageous for us to buy a product for £1.50 and sell it for 30. That would make sense, right? But we're not in business for short-term gain, and here's proof of it. Let me show you one of these beautiful pictures. Next one. Look at that. That's yours and ours, aloe fields. That's how much we care, is we have over 50 million aloe plants in the ground to make sure you and your rest of your global FBOs have enough high-quality raw material to do your business. So if you're looking at this as truly as a business opportunity, you got to say, holy crap, those guys have skin in the game. Right? We're not stepping in and seeing how this will go. We're not stepping in and ordering minimum orders. We're throwing all our money, time, and effort into making sure you have the best to be the best. Because we try as best we can to put our money where our mouth is. And I will hold that up to any negative observation about who we are and the direction we go in anywhere in the world. Because nobody else does that. And I have heard, oh, that's okay for you, big American corporation. You treat your people badly. You're wrong, because this next slide. The people that pick the aloe plants in the Dominican Republic or in Texas or in Mexico work for us. And we're very proud of that fact. We have people waiting to work for us in the Dominican Republic. We have third and fourth generation families that work for us in the Dominican Republic. And we're very, very proud of that. What fantastic opportunity. And I think Gary can give you the figures more, but I think I heard that recently that we employ over 300 people in one village in the Dominican Republic. we did that before it was fashionable. You know how cool it is to be cause marketers now? If you buy a pair of my shoes, I'll donate a shoelace to some guy in some country that's not as well as off as me. That's how it works now. But long before any of that was happening, this was happening. So some people call it old-fashioned. Some people call it pedantic. I just call it good, good business. It's great business to look after the people you work with, to look after the people you work for. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about real briefly is within Forever, we have something called the marketing plan. You'll hear that terminology. The marketing plan just encompasses a whole bunch of things that you can access through movement and through sales of your products. The marketing plan is our method, our calculation of paying you. And it's worked out over 40 years of experience. It is a fair and generous way in which one of our core values in Forever is to pay the highest bonuses possible. And you see that on the positive and sometimes a little bit on the negative side. Now let me give you a look at that on the negative side. As the head of global marketing, my job is to promote and market the company in the most effective way possible. Now that sounds easy if you have a limitless budget. Now, let me give you an example. A lot of people say to me, well, how come we can't have our names on Ronaldo's shirt or our name on Lewis Hamilton's car? That would be so cool. I agree, that would be great. But there's only a certain amount of money in the pot, right? You understand that. You know your own family budget. We have a Forever budget. So you got to ask yourself, one of our, say, chairman's bonus, $26 million last year. Think about what we could do with $26 million worth of marketing. I could get you Lewis Hamilton, I could get you Messi, I could get you Ronaldo. But I've got to take 26 million bucks out of the chairman's bonus pot. You decide. Do you get my point? Is our goal is to pay the highest bonuses possible. So therefore, we have to take that fund from whether you want your name on the top of a huge building on a motorway somewhere. And sometimes you'll see that in Forever, we might not be as loud and as shiny as you want us to be. Well, that's because way back when we said to ourselves, you know what, pay the highest bonuses possible. Let's take this percentage of our profit and put it over here and we'll call it chairman's bonus. And that gives you another opportunity to access a fair and generous marketing plan. Does that make sense? Do you like that? Because we can change it. No. Now, the marketing plan is complicated at times. I understand that. But the more you work with it, the more you understand it, you'll get to see the logic of it. And it's just a way that we feel pays you a fair and generous reward, I guess, return. Now, from time to time, there are changes that are made to that marketing plan, but ours has stayed essentially the same for 40 years. And now you will hear criticism that says, well, it's old-fashioned. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just because it's 40 years old doesn't mean say it's wrong. Penicillin's 200 years old. Still works. Insulin's 101 years old now. Still saves lives. Do you get my point? Is that we don't have to tweak to make sure that it stays modern and current and all that when it works perfectly well. So make sure that you're aware of the fact that it's proven. And I know that we make changes from time to time. We just made one here that you guys were mad at me about. But it was the right thing to do. Now, okay, I want to go on real quick because I'm running out of time. All of this adds up to, I want to give you another quick insight into an observation that I found on a video that talks a little bit about who Forever is and how it acts in the world. And a space that we fill in the world. And so we recently had an event down in South Africa. And part of that experience was a visit that we went out to, first of all, where we just checked everything was okay, there was the right hotels, all that kind of stuff, like a pre-visit. And whilst we were there, we met a guy called Phineas. And Phineas was our driver for the day. And for some reason in this process, we ended up in Orlando West, which is a very poor area of Soweto. And we went there, and I want to show you this story. Why do I want to show you this? Is because you contributed to the success of what happened. Can you play Phineas video?
the moment, I'm a tourist guide, but I'm very interested in running my own NGO. I was just doing a normal tour, like the way I always do, and we went into a place called Orlando, the squatter camp. As we were driving through there were children who came to us, and the guys from Forever, as the way they are, they wanted to meet with these children. They were so amazed to see how poor the children were, but how happy they were. The guys from Forever, they decided that we better do more for these people in this area. And they asked me, what am I thinking of? I said to them, no money can make people happy, but anything as small as, even if it could be a pen, it could be a book, it could be toys, it could be old clothes that you don't need, we can make changes to the lives of these people. By bringing a smile to the people, you are changing their lives. Then, as I said, we better have packed something when we came here. If we knew, then that's how we decided that we're gonna have a pack for Phineas charities. That's how it became to this. For me, this is a dream comes true. Pack for Phineas is very close to my heart, because the way it came about, it was an amazing. Forever, I will never forget Forever in my whole life, because they just answered my call. They say, isandla esiphayo sibusisiwe kunesamukelayo. That means a hand that gives is more blessed than the hand that receives. I'm very proud of what is happening at the moment, where there are people out there who felt that they would help me by giving.
That's cool, huh? So what happened was we got home, and Phineas, I don't know if you heard at the very beginning, he said he always had a dream to start his own NGO, basically his own charity. And that started now. Pack for Phineas is his NGO. And so he started to do that. And you guys sent so much stuff that the hotel, we thought it was going to be a one-day thing. There was so much stuff that when we left, there was still 2 rooms that were full of stuff that he didn't even know where to send it. So that process continued. In addition to that, we did, and I'm very excited to announce our continued relationship with Stop Hunger Now, which is an organization, a global organization that provides food to children around the world that are starving, literally. And it's a really cool thing where we pack the meals ourselves as FBOs. We pay for them, we pack them, it gets put in a box, and that box gets sealed. It then gets sent to somewhere in the world, Cambodia, Philippines, wherever it might be, where the kids take that box out and eat that food. So the connection between you and them is amazing. Last year we did about 400,000 meals. In 2017, our goal globally is to do 1 million meals for Stop Hunger Now. So we will need your help with money and time. So. Now, hopefully, when you leave this room today, you'll feel good. You'll feel good about our company. You know, some of you will have some observations and some concerns. But ultimately, I hope you feel good. Every time I leave a success day, I feel brilliant. I feel wonderful about it. But you know what's going to happen? Is someone is going to tell you it's a scam, it doesn't work, it's American. Donald Trump and all of that, you know. You will, right? Or is that just me? People have been telling me for 20 years to get a real job. And that's just like my little friend, the bumblebee. Right? I want you to think in your mind what a bumblebee looks like. It looks just like me. There ain't a friend in this room. He's short and he's fat and his arms and legs are just not quite big enough. You should try being fat and wear these new suits. Holy flip, I dread them. They're like a punishment. I like the baggy ones with 17 pleats on the front that your ass could hang out of, you know? So the bumblebee is short, fat, stubby arms and legs, and these tiny little wings. And just to rub it in, God came in and said, that's not bad enough, I'm going to paint you black and yellow. And what happens to the bumblebee is all of these people around it look at the bumblebee and think, based on my experience, knowledge, expertise, and just what a smart person I am, you will never fly. Because the ratio between your wings and their ability to push air and your fat little bum, you're never getting off the ground. Now the bumblebee, and you will have heard just exactly the same thing. At some point, somebody, whether it's the press or it's somebody in your line of friends, family, whoever it may be, will say something like, my brother's, cousin's, uncle's, sister's, mother's, brother's, cousin told me that this will never work, that you will never fly. Or, even worse, they put a timetable on your ability to be successful. They say, if that doesn't happen by Tuesday, it's never going to work. Have you heard that? Or they say, if that doesn't happen by the end of the year, what arbitrary number is the end of the year? Now, what would have happened if the bumblebee would have listened to all of that? You would have these little creatures walking around everywhere. But thankfully, the bumblebee is just like each one of you that had the courage to be here today. They didn't listen, right? And the little bumblebee said to himself, I have wings. Each one of you has wings, because remember, they broke the mold. None of you are here to fail. Think about the amount of investment in you. Think about from the moment you were born. I was watching Juliana with a beautiful little baby today, and a wonderful mom. Their whole focus is that child. At some point in your life, whether you believe it or not, you were that child. The focus all about you was to survive and to succeed. That's why you're here. Someone comes along with this vehicle and says, try this. So same way the bumblebee says, my wings. What are wings for? To fly. They have no other purpose. You cannot peel an orange with a wing. There's no other purpose to a wing except to push enough air that you fly. So the bumble say, I have wings, and he went about it. He went, So what happened? What happened? Guess what happened? The wasp, who was skinny and looks phenomenal, swelled his chest and went, you will never fly. What did the bumblebee do? What should you do? Just keep flapping. Just keep flapping. Does the bumblebee know how many flaps it takes to fly? How many flaps a second? He's got no idea. He's not counting, he's just flapping. In fact, it takes 200 flaps in 1 second to fly. What happens if you measure your activity and you measure it at 199? Do you fly? No, you're just knackered. Right? So try and use this analogy to apply it to you in your lives. Be like the bumblebee. Just keep flapping. Because at some point, some arbitrary point, when the physics lines up, that beautiful little thing goes, Ooh. And he looks down on all of the haters. Right? And he says, I'm flying. And what's wonderful about the bumblebee is he lands and he teaches others. He then goes to the other bumblebee and says, don't give up. Keep flapping. I promise you it will work. You've just got to keep flapping. If I or Greg or any of us knew where 200 was for you, we would tell you. I promise you, I would tell you in a heartbeat. All of us would phone you and say, it's right here. But I don't know where that is. You don't know where it is. Your upline doesn't know where it is. That leaves you with one responsibility. It's just keep flapping. Have a great day. We love you all.